What's up, everybody? It's Jason Cruz here once again with another episode of The Legal Submission. And this time we are going to be updating you on the Jojo Diaz lawsuit filed by his manager or former manager, Moises Heredia Boxing Management, against Daniel Kinahan and MTK Global. So basically, the crux of the lawsuit, if you don't remember or need to be brushed up on it, Moises Heredia represented Jojo Diaz, his boxing career, and basically at a certain point, Heredia claims that MTK Global, Daniel Kinahan, and his associates got into Diaz's ear and eventually wrested Diaz away from Daniel Kinahan. And the problem was, of course, that Heredia, who was Jojo Diaz's manager, represented Diaz and had a contract to manage his services. And at some point, Diaz decided to fire. Let him go, let Heredia go. So Heredia files this lawsuit claiming that an interference with the managerial contract of Jojo Diaz, as well as breaches of fiduciary duty and implied duty good faith, the favorite one, implied duty good faith and fair dealing in the contract, and violations of the Muhammad Ali Act, as well as other claims that go forth in the lawsuit. Now, basically, we're not talking about the substance of the lawsuit at this particular point. We're talking about what's going on with the actual lawsuit. So what happens in a lawsuit is that the plaintiff, the guy who files the lawsuit, files with the court and then must serve the plaintiffs. Now, overall in U.S. law, in civil lawsuits, the lawsuit must be filed personally. I mean, no, excuse me, the service of the lawsuit must be given to the individual. So that's why you have service processors and people going to people's work, homes, whatever, wherever they could find somebody to serve them the lawsuit, because there is no effective service without doing this. So the problem with Heredia and suing a person, an entity outside of the United States, is you got to find them. And apparently, MTK Global and Kinahan are in the United Arab Emirates. And what Heredia's lawyers have done is filed or hired a law firm in the UAE to serve MTK Global. Now, according to UAE law, they only need to post this conspicuously. So basically, in newspapers, post the notice in newspapers, according to a declaration from an individual from the UAE law firm hired by Heredia, they also emailed an MTK Global email. So they are believing that this particular function worked as as the service of process of the lawsuit. Once again, you could file a lawsuit and it could be known everywhere on the internet and whatnot, but you actually do have to receive the lawsuit if you are a defendant in a particular case, in a civil lawsuit. So what has happened now? If you don't respond, and don't make an appearance, the plaintiffs can file an order of default. What an order of default basically means is that one, they filed a lawsuit and served it upon the defendants, and then two, the defendants have not responded in any way whatsoever. You usually get 30 days or 20 days, depending on what jurisdiction, to respond to the lawsuit. And usually what happens is that the defendant turns it over to their lawyers. The lawyers contact the plaintiff's lawyers, and they let them know that they will be appearing on behalf of their client. But in this particular case, MTK Global and Daniel Kinahan have not done that. They've actually just either not responded know they not are not going to respond, or simply don't even know about this particular lawsuit. Now, it's hard to think that they don't know about this particular lawsuit simply because everyone's talking about it actually in the boxing world. Certainly, Jojo Diaz probably knows that his former manager is mad at him and suing him, or suing his current management team. But there's a certain process that you have to go through to get this, and it's not actually occurring. So Heredia's lawyers have filed an order of default. Default is the precursor to getting a judgment. Default means that the individual has not responded to the lawsuit, and the court can now order that the lawsuit is now fully served, and the defendant has forfeited its right to respond. So the next steps for the plaintiff to do is to file an order of default judgment, which they can request a monetary sum, and then at some point down the road, they may execute that judgment upon the defendants. Now, problem is this: one, defendants could come at any time to set aside the motion to default. And then two, good luck finding bank accounts or property in the U.S. for MTK Global or Daniel Kinahan for them to attach a judgment. That's the problem, is finding the money. So on the what happens next for Heredia's attorneys is, they had to move the lawsuit along. So this could be something or nothing. They had to force the hand of Kinahan and MTK Global. The problem is they could just have a judgment for a long period of time without even collecting. I think at some point that MTK Global and Kinahan will appear in the lawsuit and probably file a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, claiming that it's frivolous and whatnot. Uh, Probably strategy to let them hang out there and not do anything, but we shall see. Once again, this is Jason Cruz with MMA Payouts, the legal submission. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and whatnot. We have to go, but we'll keep you up to date on this particular lawsuit. Take it easy.